Hi YouTube, this is Darkon633, and today I'm bringing a review of the Star Wars The Force Awakens Battle Millennium Falcon. Now, this Falcon is actually quite impressive, and I understand that for a lot of fans, this Falcon is kind of the content of debate because of the fact that it doesn't compare to the older Falcon releases, and obviously there are better Falcons out there. However, those were released a while back, and they also cost a lot on the secondary market. So, for those who do not have a Battle Millennium Falcon, or just a Falcon in general, I think this is definitely the best bet to get a hold of. Now, I understand the $130 price is a bit pricey, but it nowhere compares to the older releases, especially trying to get one with all the components that are included and so on. So, at this moment in time, unless they decide to reissue one of the older ones, which I doubt at this point, this is your best bet for those who do not have the Falcon. Now, obviously this one is based on the one that will be shown in the film. However, it's understandable that the giant Nerf Cannon is definitely not something that we'll see in the film. And possibly also this giant gun turret also will not be featured in the film. But that's just something they added to add more play value to the Falcon itself. But anyways, as you can see, the box is quite massive. It barely gets on camera, and I have to admit it's very impressive. I really like the artwork that they put on the Millennium Falcon here, and I think this is a really cool toy out of the box. Now down here is a place where the 3 figures that are included in the Millennium Falcon set is originally stored. We have another version of Finn Jakku from Jakku version, BB-8, and a Chewbacca. Now, these 2 versions are modified versions of the original toys. One, Chewbacca, which is technically only at this point released in the Armor Up set, and Finn, which was obviously released in the single card. Both of these, which we'll get to when we get to the Falcon itself, includes a molded headset, which actually is not removable. A part of it is, because it kind of clips onto the jackets, but not so much the whole piece itself. And the BB-8 that comes with the set, surprisingly, is also an exclusive version because, one, it features a hole which you can actually peg onto parts of the Falcon, and also it's a lot heavier compared to the release that was included in the Unkar 3-pack. But anyways, now we have a good look at the front. We'll take a look at the sides, as you can see. Just shows some of the features the Falcon has, and a cool artwork design for Finn and Chewbacca, and also BB-8. And on the back, it just pretty much shows you the typical stuff, the features and various other things, and this toy includes. Anyways, we'll take away the box and look at the Falcon itself. And here we have the Falcon outside the box. Now, I'm sorry that it's not really showing up well on the camera. This is the only way I can get the Falcon in place on my review setup, so it's kind of hard to see a lot of the details from this angle, but we'll get to it in a minute. Anyways, the Falcon itself is really a good size, actually. I heard that it's about the same size as the Power of the Force version. Since I don't own any other Falcons, I was finally happy to own any version of the Falcon in general in the 3.75-inch scale. Some features on it alone includes this radar dish, which just plugs in and nothing else, unfortunately. It also features an openable cockpit, and a few features which we'll get to in a minute. But first, we'll take a look at the details itself when I picked this up. As you can see, it's actually really well detailed for what it is. I understand the play value might be a little less just for the features, and the features themselves may not up to be standards for most Star Wars fans, but as a display piece, I think this is really good design for the Falcon. Anyways, we'll now take a look at the cockpit area. Now, unfortunately, some of the promotional images showed that the figures can fit in with the good fit, but unfortunately, as you can see, similar to the Power of the Force Falcon, they're kind of snug in there, and it's just kind of distracting that it doesn't really work out that well. Now, I'm going to take out the figures here, and we'll take a look at them in a minute. But first, we'll take a look at some of the inner details of the cockpit in various other places already outside of the Falcon. Now, the radar dish and a few other pieces had to have been assembled. As you can see inside here, there's a lot of stickers to place. They're not the smallest stickers, so they're not the most annoying to put on, But there's some areas, like especially inside the cockpit area, where it is a bit sloppy in my work, unfortunately. And it's just a bit annoying to assemble at times. But anyways, we'll close out the cockpit and take a look at the two figures first. First, we'll take a look at the fin figure, which is included. As you can see, it's pretty much the same sculpt. His head sculpt's just a tad bit different. And it does feature the little mic set there. He has the same amount of articulation as the standard release. However, his feet are molded in a slightly different position. As you can see, it's a little bit of a bend on his knees rather than mostly just standing up. Here's a comparison with the regular fin that was from the standard release. So besides the little piece that goes down from the jacket there, and obviously the headset and so on, it's pretty much the same mold overall. So let's just put Finn down for a minute and take a look at Chewbacca, which is actually my first 4-inch Chewbacca, actually, or any figure Chewbacca in general. His head can't turn, but he does have the standard arms and also the standard legs. So that's pretty much all you're going to get. And these little headset pieces are kind of annoying since they like to fall off a lot, as you can see there. Just going to slide that back and put him to the side. So that's pretty much it for the Falcon outside. Now we'll take a look at the Falcon on the inner details that were featured on this version of the Falcon. To open up the Falcon, first you're going to turn this around to make it easier to get to. And down here, which unfortunately is a sticker, in some of the other versions this actually had electronics, but obviously here it's just stickers. You press these two buttons on the side here to unlatch it. And mine's a bit glitchy where this piece will pop out. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Hopefully it doesn't pop out here. So anyways, we'll slowly press the buttons and lift this. And inside, first we got the main unit, which, as you can see there, BB-8 is sitting there snugly. It's got a lot of areas where you can peg on little pieces here and there. It's also got a really nice hollow chessboard set. Cool seat. A medical bay, and inside is actually an area, which we're just going to remove the cannon quickly first, where you can store a little weaponry, which the set does include the same blaster that was included in the 4-inch fin and the single card, and Chewbacca's bowcaster, which we'll get to now. I'm just going to take these weapons out. You can pretty much fit in more stuff. There's actually a lot of space in there. Just gonna snap that together. Here you have a look at Chewbacca's bowcaster. Now, there isn't a way to slide these end pieces in. I know some, if I remember correctly, can actually do that, but this one's just a static piece. It doesn't do anything else. And it fits pretty well in Chewbacca's hands, which we'll get to now. Just gonna slide this in. Kind of need to play around with it since his hand is molded just a tad bit different than the standard figures. Kind of need to play around with it to actually get it into place. Pretty much gives you an idea how it looks like in his hands, so that's pretty cool. We're going to slide that out now. And just take a quick look at the gun that came with Finn here. It's pretty much the same thing as the standard release, so there isn't anything new here. We're just going to put those back now, so I won't lose them. And now we're going to take a look at BB-8. Now I forgot to bring the older BB-8 over here, but it's pretty much the same thing. There's a few paint differences from what I heard, since I never actually looked at them together. But he does have a little bit more weight to him. So it's not just the hollow plastic like the other release was. And obviously here it does feature the peg hole that you can plug him in everywhere. He does have the same articulations, so if you didn't get the Car 3-pack set, this is the best bet to get a hold of BB-8. However, that's not all this features. On the other side of the hood of the Falcon is another display piece where you can just plug in any other figure. We're just going to plug Finn here on the base here, and it's just another area for attack. And using the same cannon that this was included. You can plug it in any of the areas here, like this, and it does turn and it's pretty cool. Just going to take that out. Then you can also take the main unit of the Falcon, and hopefully this comes on camera pretty well. And this one's trying to drop here, one. Okay. While it doesn't snap into place, you can rest it on any of these areas here. And then it just becomes some kind of battle platform, as you can see there. So it's pretty cool what this features. Now, going on to the electronic parts, we have here the hyperdrive, which, if I remember correctly, is actually the first time they ever featured it on the toy Falcon. If you slide it up, as you can see, it's in the green position, meaning that it's active. Or if you slide it down, means that the hyperdrive is broken. So now we're just going to slide it up to make it easier. Close up the Falcon. And then we're going to turn it on, which does take 2 AA batteries. You need to unscrew the bottom in order to get it together. Then down here is where the on and off switch is. Just going to put it down for now. Right now, it doesn't make any sounds. However, once you pick it up, it does have an ability where it will make sounds as it's flying in the air. So that's really cool what it has. And at the bottom here, there's a button right here. It's cleverly hidden on the toy. And once that's pressed down, it gives the indication that the Falcon is now landed and it will no longer make sounds. Now, even when it's in the land position, you can press this button, and then this piece will open up. Hopefully I get this right, because there are 2 buttons on the side. One will open up this, and the second button will open up this. Hopefully this button will open up this side. So here we go. So yeah, this is one of the most controversial parts of the toy, since it's a huge turret system, and while it does look cool in a toy perspective, I can see why, for those who are stickler for accuracy, could be quite distracted by this unit here. Taking a look here, and the sounds will continue. It does have a fair amount of detail, and it does feature lights and sounds. So looking it up from the front, if you press the button, once again, it is currently in hyperdrive mode since the button is pressed. So here we go, press it again. And then it will activate the lights and sounds. If you hold on to it, unfortunately it doesn't continue like it could. Now once again we're just going to slide it down. And I think one of my most favorite parts of it is that this inner computer area looks like it does light up, and it's very cool what the features can be used here. However, that's not all it does. As you can see, this compartment can open and allow you to put in any figure. Most figures should fit in here. I haven't gone and checked some of the other figures to fit in there. But if Chewbacca can fit in there, since he's a rather tall figure, then it should work pretty well. And he can command this system here. So there we go. Just pressing this again, we can activate the sounds once more. So if you want to continue with the sound, you just keep pressing it rather than holding on to it. And inside, you see Chewbacca looking through the targeting computer and so on. So it's actually a pretty cool toy feature. What's also cool is that if you play with it a bit and slide this back down, you can hold on to this. And technically this isn't a regular feature, but if you hold on to this while pressing it, it looks like it's just firing it without pulling out that entire unit. So you do need to hold on to it in order to make it work that way. The Falcon does have one other feature, and that's when you press the button on the other side, this Nerf dart cannon will appear. So when you press it once, it's supposed to open up this area, and in each side of the vehicle, it can carry up to 4 Nerf darts. However, the Falcon does only include one, so if you want to get more darts, they are sold separately. So I haven't been able to actually get this to work, so I'm just going to put this in, and then supposedly if you press this button multiple times, it's supposed to fire out. As you can see, it doesn't do what it's supposed to, so I'm just going to take that out and slide this back in. And then, just going to close up in this compartment and put this back. So that's pretty much it for the Battle Millennium Falcon in a nutshell. Now, as you can see, it does have a lot of play features, and it's a pretty cool in a toy aspect. Not so much if you want something that's accurate. That obviously will, as everyone's been saying, go to the big Millennium Falcon that was released, I forgot what year, since I'm not a really big Star Wars fan. I don't remember a lot of things, and I didn't really pay attention to the toy line at the time, since unfortunately I just wasn't really into the toy line for a while. It wasn't until this movie where I finally got back into actually trying to collect most of the stuff, and I've been pretty happy getting some of the older vintage stuff and so on. Anyways, this is still a pretty cool set, and for those who really don't have a Millennium Falcon, one second, sorry, this piece doesn't want to sit properly. I'm trying to snap it back together. Okay, there. It's still a really neat set, and obviously for those who already have a Falcon, this is an easy skip. You don't need another Falcon, especially one that isn't accurate. Unless you really like the features of this Battle Millennium Falcon, then it's definitely an easy pass for those who already own another version of the Falcon. However, for those, including myself, who have not owned a Millennium Falcon ever in their lifetime, I think this is a really neat set, and it's definitely worth it, at least in my opinion, for the $130 because of how big it is personally to me, even if obviously there are older ones that are larger. And it does have a lot of cool play features, and it's still pretty fun regardless. Anyways, we'll take a little comparison with the TIE Fighter just to get this out of the way. And here is the First Order TIE Fighter scaled to the Millennium Falcon. Now, obviously this Falcon is still kind of small, I guess, compared to what a TIE Fighter is supposed to be, but for the limitations that Hasbro has to make these vehicles, I think they did a pretty good job designing a new version of the Falcon. Now, I forgot to mention earlier is that the Falcon has a secondary sound when the hyperdrive is broken. So I'm just going to quickly open this once again. And then, down here, once again, the hyperdrive, we have two sounds. That's active, and also broken. So that's pretty much it for the other sound. Once the hyperdrive is broken, it's no longer functional. Now, I definitely think this is a really nice set, regardless of the fact that it does have its limitations and may not be the most accurate Falcon in the market. But for the current price of today, and the fact that it's a brand new Falcon rather than going out of your way and getting an old one, especially for a higher price, I think this is pretty decent for what it is. Now, obviously, if you really care for accuracy, then better bet to get a hold of the big Millennium Falcon. But for a toy aspect, this is still a really nice Falcon, and I really enjoy getting a hold of one from Walmart.com for the retail price. Now, I will be back to show more Star Wars toy reviews in the future, but for now, please comment and subscribe, and check out Hero Talk on the Gideon blog as soon as they reopen up. Also, please check out me on Twitter under Darkon633, and please check down the other channels below, including the WRW podcast and my other friends' channels. But for now, I'll be seeing you on YouTube. Bye.